Jade Kinsley, known to her fans as Jade K, was one of the rising stars on OnlyFans. Her subscription numbers soared with each passing day, thanks to her charismatic personality, stunning looks, and unique content that ranged from cosplay to intimate behind-the-scenes glimpses of her life. However, Jade harbored a secret desire. She wanted to create content that went beyond the provocative, something that would allow her to explore her creative side more deeply. One evening, as she scrolled through her social media feeds, an advertisement caught her eye. A call for participants in an experimental reality show. The show promised a mix of horror and suspense, blending traditional reality TV with elements of a thriller. Intrigued, Jade clicked on the link and read more. The premise was simple. A group of individuals would spend a weekend in a supposedly haunted mansion with cameras capturing their every move. The aim was to see how they coped with fear and isolation. It sounded like the perfect opportunity to expand her brand and delve into new content. She applied immediately. 2 weeks later, Jade received an acceptance email. She was ecstatic and shared the news with her subscribers, who eagerly anticipated the unique content that would come from her participation in the show. The day arrived, and Jade found herself standing in front of an imposing, Gothic-style mansion located in the middle of nowhere. The other participants, a mix of social media influencers, aspiring actors, and thrill seekers, milled about nervously. Jade's excitement was palpable, even as she felt a slight chill creep up her spine at the sight of the dilapidated mansion. The production team, a small but efficient group, briefed them on the rules. They would have to navigate the mansion, completing various tasks while avoiding being caught by actors playing ghosts. The cameras would be rolling 24/7, capturing every moment. Jade couldn't wait to get started. As night fell, the participants were led inside. The mansion's interior was just as eerie as its exterior. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, dust covered the furniture, and the air was thick with a musty odor. Jade's heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. She had her camera ready, eager to capture her experiences for her subscribers. The first few hours were uneventful, with the group exploring the mansion, finding hidden clues, and occasionally encountering the actors in ghostly makeup. However, as midnight approached, the atmosphere changed. The temperature seemed to drop, and strange noises echoed through the halls. The participants, who had started the evening with laughter and banter, grew quieter, their nervousness palpable. Jade, determined to get the best content possible, decided to venture off on her own. She roamed the dark corridors, her flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. Her camera captured everything, and she narrated her experiences, her voice a mix of excitement and apprehension. Suddenly, she heard a noise, a soft whisper, barely audible but unmistakable. She froze, straining to hear. "Jade!" Her name, whispered in the darkness. She swung her flashlight around, but there was no one there. Her pulse quickened, and she reminded herself that it was just part of the show. The actors were trying to scare them. She continued exploring, but the whispers grew more frequent, more insistent. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Jade, come find me." Her nerves frayed, Jade decided to head back to the main hall to regroup with the others. As she turned a corner, she saw a figure standing at the end of the corridor. It was a woman, dressed in a long, flowing gown, her face obscured by shadows. Jade's heart pounded in her chest as she raised her flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing the woman's face, pale, with hollow eyes and a haunting smile. "Who are you?" Jade managed to ask, her voice trembling. The woman didn't respond. Instead, she began to move towards Jade, her steps slow and deliberate. Panic surged through Jade. She turned and ran, her footsteps echoing in the empty halls. She could hear the woman's footsteps behind her, matching her pace. Jade's breath came in ragged gasps as she burst into the main hall, where the other participants were gathered. "They're here! The ghosts are real!" she shouted, her voice a mix of fear and hysteria. The others stared at her, confusion and fear etched on their faces. The production team, monitoring the cameras, rushed in, their expressions serious. Jade tried to explain what she had seen, but the woman had vanished, leaving no trace behind. The team reassured them that it was all part of the show, but Jade couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The night dragged on, and the strange occurrences intensified. Objects moved on their own, ghostly figures appeared and disappeared, and the whispers grew louder. Jade's camera captured everything, but as the hours passed, she began to feel a sense of dread that went beyond the manufactured scares of the show. The mansion seemed to come alive, its malevolent presence palpable. As dawn approached, the participants were exhausted, their nerves frayed. Jade, determined to uncover the truth, decided to confront the production team. She made her way to the control room, her camera in hand. What she found there chilled her to the bone. The room was empty, the equipment abandoned, monitors flickered, displaying static and distorted images. Jade's heart raced as she searched for any sign of the crew. Suddenly, she felt a cold hand on her shoulder. She turned, expecting to see one of the actors, but there was no one there. Panic surged through her as she realized she was truly alone. Desperate, Jade began to search the mansion for the others. She found them in the basement, huddled together, their faces pale with fear. They had all experienced similar encounters, and it was clear that something was very wrong. The actors, who were supposed to be part of the show, were nowhere to be found. "We need to get out of here," Jade said, her voice trembling. "This isn't part of the show anymore." The group agreed, but as they made their way to the exit, they found it blocked. The mansion seemed determined to keep them inside. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and the ghostly figures became more aggressive. Jade's camera captured everything, the footage a chilling testament to their ordeal. As the hours passed, the group's fear turned to desperation. They tried everything to escape, but the mansion seemed to have a will of its own. It twisted and turned, trapping them in a maze of dark corridors and hidden rooms. Jade's camera battery began to die, the screen flickering ominously. Just when all hope seemed lost, they stumbled upon a hidden room. Inside, they found old photographs and documents that told the story of the mansion's dark past. It had once been the home of a wealthy family, but tragedy had struck, leaving behind a legacy of death and despair. The spirits of the family were trapped, their souls bound to the mansion, and they were determined to keep anyone who entered from leaving. Armed with this knowledge, Jade and the others devised a plan. They performed a ritual, hoping to appease the spirits and break the curse. As they chanted the incantation, the mansion shook, and the spirits appeared, their faces twisted with anger and sorrow. Jade's camera captured the terrifying scene, the footage a final testament to their struggle. With one last effort, they completed the ritual. The mansion trembled, and the spirits let out a collective wail before vanishing into thin air. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the group felt a sense of relief wash over them. They made their way to the exit, which was now unblocked, and stumbled out into the dawn light. Jade's camera, its battery nearly dead, captured their triumphant escape. They stood in front of the mansion, its dark windows staring back at them like empty eyes. Exhausted but relieved, they vowed never to speak of what had happened inside. Jade returned home, her subscribers eager for the content she had promised. She hesitated, wondering if she should share the footage. In the end, she decided to upload it, letting her fans see the terrifying ordeal they had endured. The video went viral, and Jade's subscriber count skyrocketed. She had achieved her goal of creating unique content, but at a cost. As she lay in bed that night, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. The whispers had followed her home, and the shadows seemed to move on their own. Jade realized that the mansion's curse might not be so easily broken. The spirits had found a new host, and they were not finished with her yet. Following weeks were a blur of fear and paranoia. Jade's home, once a sanctuary, became a place of terror. The whispers grew louder, the shadows more menacing. She tried to ignore them, to convince herself that it was all in her head, but the evidence was undeniable. Objects moved on their own. Cold spots appeared in her home, and she often woke up in the middle of the night to see ghostly figures standing at the foot of her bed. Desperate, Jade sought help from paranormal experts, but their attempts to cleanse her home only seemed to anger the spirits further. Her subscribers noticed the change in her demeanor, her once cheerful personality replaced by a haunted look. She tried to maintain her content schedule, but the constant fear took its toll. One night, as she was editing a video, her computer screen flickered and a message appeared. "You can't escape us, Jade." Her heart pounded as she stared at the screen, the words seared into her mind. She realized that the spirits were not bound to the mansion. They had followed her home, their rage growing with each passing day. With no other options left, Jade made a decision. She packed her belongings and left her home, hoping to outrun the spirits that haunted her. She traveled to remote locations, never staying in one place for long. But no matter where she went, the whispers followed, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked just out of sight. Jade's OnlyFans account lay dormant, her once thriving career overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. She no longer cared about fame or subscribers. All she wanted was to be free from the curse that had turned her life into a waking nightmare. And so, Jade Kinsley, once a rising star on OnlyFans, faded into obscurity, her story a cautionary tale whispered among content creators. They say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear her name carried on the wind, a haunting echo of the price she paid for fame.